All right. Okay. Says we're doing it. All righty. Let's see here. Okay. We are live, I hope. According to my new technology, we are completely live. I'm here with Paul Ciolino, a professional investigator, a forensic investigator from the great state of Illinois. Paul, tell us just a little bit about your background for people who do not know who the hell you are.
Well, I'm like the cat's ass of the
Is that what's a cat's ass? I need to know. I don't know what that is.
It's pretty cool. I like it, okay? We're talking about a good smelling cat, too.
Okay, great.
But I've been an investigator for 35 years, military, government, private. I've pretty much worked in every venue.
So, and you specialize in what nowadays?
Well, pretty much homicide and sex cases.
Homicide and sex crimes cases?
That's correct.
And how long have you been doing this? How long?
I've been doing it since 1974.
1974. Do you know what year I was born in?
I don't know. You're probably born about 68, maybe 88.
1970. So when I was 4 years old, you'd been doing it. You just started working, right? So we're pretty much the same.
And I pretty much acted like I was 4 years old then too. I've advanced a little bit.
Well, as long as you, so you've got way more experience than me, is what you're telling me.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you joining me here today. We are going to be together, you, me, and Aurelio Coronado. We will be together teaching a course on criminal profiling and crime scene analysis in Las Vegas, the weekend of September 23rd. Correct?
Very excited.
What are you going to talk about? You actually, this is a fun thing about you. You actually have written more than one criminal profile, have you not? I've written some of your reports, and they're actually pretty good.
I have, actually, I learned how to write a profile reports for you. So, I've been doing this longer, but you're smarter. So, once again, we do this a lot. You and I, really well, have fought all over North America together, and Central America, and South America, and it goes really well. And if people come and learn how to do homicide and sex cases, and how to investigate things properly,
Right.
get their ass to Las Vegas.
That's right. Get your ass to Las Vegas. That's exactly right. Now, here's the fun part about that. Not only have you been doing it that long, but when I first met you, your writing was pretty good. It was pretty organized. And I feel like all I did was really give you a structure for the writing that you were already doing. That's in my thought. That's what I was thinking.
Well, yeah, and I'm not blowing smoke of any. I've been doing this a long time, and I will tell you all that Kirby is probably the smartest guy in this business.
Stop.
And there's more cutting edge stuff than anybody I've ever met doing it.
Well, I appreciate the kind note, but the important thing is having the right team. That, to me, and you've always been that way. It's always the right team of people with the right experience. So you got to have the right team, or it doesn't matter how smart you are. You can outsmart yourself real fast.
Absolutely right. The team picks up everybody, and we correct our own mistakes, and we learn from our mistakes.
We hope.
That's what a good team does.
Hopefully. So let's talk about a couple things I've been dying to talk to you about, but I haven't talked to you about yet. You ready?
Hit me.
So first of all, how do you feel about the recent demise of Robert O. Block, the president of the American College of Forensic Examiners Institute now?
Well, I love his business sense. He's not making a lot of money. Actually, nothing. And do nothing for heckles. That you got to go in the court where they did a lot more nothing. Unfortunately, they did a lot of damage because they really weren't experts.
Right.
But I'm starting to see the guy go, but I think he went after he went out with a young girlfriend. If I'm not mistaken, he killed her too, fortunately. But,
yeah.
But usually guys like dogs are bad anyways.
Yeah, so just for those people who are not aware, Robert O. Block in the early 1990s, he started the American College of Forensic Examiners. Had the same acronym as another famous professional organization. I don't think that was a mistake. They complained about it, and about 8 years later, he changed it to the ACFIE. Now, the point is, He was not an expert in anything. He had no real forensic credentials, no real investigative credentials. He'd been let go from a number of places. But he had an idea that people need to be certified to do the work they do. And in that, we agree. Certification is important. But that's where we start disagreeing afterwards, because his idea was people can just write me a check and I will give them a certification after they take a little online quiz, and they can say they're certified in any field they want. And he certified.
I'm pretty sure I didn't even think of that words.
Yeah, that's because you were grandfathered in back in the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
A lot of people were. The other thing he did was he solicited endorsements for money from different forensic professionals like Henry Lee, Cyril Wecht, and they all stumped for him. They all basically were very happy to take his money and say, you should join this organization too. It's great. Because they were getting paid. So.
Well, he was a smart guy. Not a very notable one, but he was smart.
No. The first time I met him was at the American Academy of Forensic Sciences meeting in 1998.
I would have paid money to be there for that.
Oh, it was great. Because I had already been talking about him online in his organization, how phony it was. And he's like, now, Brent, why are you giving us such a hard time? And I said, well, because, your organization is not a real one. It's a for-profit model for just taking money from people, and you don't.
How much money did he offer you to endorse him?
He didn't. He came up to me because I was at the Elsevier booth, and I was selling my textbooks. So it was 1999. That's what it was in Florida. At any rate, he was not happy with me at all, but he was very friendly. I think he wanted to win me over. He wanted me to. It was very clear he was going to move towards having me sort of try to give an endorsement, but I wasn't having any of it. It was very, very, very oily experience, if you can imagine.
Andy was from the Ozarks. The only thing they're expert in the Ozarks is catching catfish.
Well, and there's something to be said for that. Now, so the other thing is, here's what happened. He was I think married at least 4 times, and he was in his 60s. That's not a problem. But he was in his 60s, and his girlfriend was in her 20s.
He's not stupid. I tell you. I mean,
no, he's not stupid.
No.
He knew exactly what he was doing. But you see this 60-year-old decrepit man with shoe polish in his hair standing next to a mid-20s young lady, and you have to wonder why. What's the interest for her? What's in it for her? Is it true love? Is it a case of true love? I have to wonder.
No, that could be his daughter, or his.
But still his girlfriend.
Yes.
So my point is, we have this situation, and it's already bad. He's got security cameras all over his house, little game trail cameras everywhere, because he's increasingly paranoid. What happens is there's 2 people in his house that night, 2 women, and there's an argument. Yeah, it gets better. There gets to be an argument. The girlfriend who's not, the woman who's not the girlfriend hides in the bathroom, hears a gunshot, then climbs out the window and onto the roof to go to the neighbor's house to go for help. Then here's another gunshot. And presumably, this is O'Block shooting his girlfriend and then shooting himself. So it's a murder-suicide, like you said.
So the alleged witness states.
Yeah, so the alleged witness states. Maybe it's a double homicide? Is that what you think an investigation is warranted? There might have been some jealousy?
I would say investigation is warranted.
Well, I would say an investigation is always warranted. That's what I would say.
Well, the Ozarks not be.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the most interesting part as far as I'm concerned. He has certified tens of thousands of forensic professionals all over the world. And they claim that the certifications were safe, even though he died. It's all going to keep continuing. Less than a few days later, after this announcement was made, they shut everything down. The organization the doors are closed, and all phone calls are going north to into Illinois, I think, to an attorney there who represents them. So none of those credentials are any good anymore.
That's a thing.
Yeah. So here's the fun part. If you put somebody on the stand who's got one of these credentials, you can ask him, "Are you certified by this organization?" Yes. Are you certified by any other organization? No. So the only professional certification you have is from someone who's a murderer.
Alleged.
Not a leg. He's dead.
That's right. He's dead. So we can say anything
We can say everything. Yeah, we can say anything we want. He's dead. No, I'm giggling because I see you can just. This was coming from a mile away. It's just as obvious as somebody using steroids. When somebody uses steroids, they get big, 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 and then they engage in some light domestic violence. Then maybe a murder-suicide, or maybe a murder, and then they kill themselves or they die of a heart attack. It's a very straight line. It's not no surprises involved. Would you agree? Yeah. Would you agree with that? You think?
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So anyway, so for your point of view, was it a good day for forensic science or a bad day for forensic science?
I was a good day for forensic science, but look, here's the problem. Of course, it went on for years and years and years. And really, there's no one that's willing to step up and do anything about it.
That is a really great point, because this was allowed to go on for years. Not only that, law enforcement participated in it overtly. He loved the police, and the police loved to be certified by him.
Law enforcement loved some online courses. They loved getting that master's degree and PhD from questionable sources. That's
right. They want to get their master's degrees and their PhDs without having to get out of their chair, and actually without having to do any coursework.
That's pretty much 90% of America, actually.
I would not disagree with that. So that's the other reason why we like to do our conferences, our workshops in person. It's much more, we can control the quality much better.
Well, I'm always suspect of online stuff, and I know that's the rate these days, but I just read an article today in the New York Times, and it's about student athletes at Florida State doing online courses. And of course, believe it or not, there was a scandal or two with this, because a guy felt be.
Yep.
And the professors who objected to their late work, no work, maybe work,
right,
were basically fired. So this is a problem in academia everywhere.
Yeah, when I was working at Oklahoma City University, I taught some online courses for them. I taught a few in-person courses, a few online, and they would put a lot of the sports guys in my online classes. And when they didn't do their homework, or when they didn't do their assignments, or when they were getting failing grades, I would never get contacted by the students. I would get contacted by the coaches. The coaches would contact me and basically they would try to bully me into changing the grade or changing the policy. I'm like, well, I had to basically make it so the dean of the university was in charge of the policy, so I wouldn't be answering any of those questions. So anytime a coach contacted me, I would just send them off to the dean so that I wouldn't have to deal with them, because they wanted to pressure you into changing things.
And the dean told you to.
Right. Eventually, I stopped working for Oklahoma City University because they were turning into a business, and they were interested. You had people who were illiterate joining master's programs, and you had people who were taking the classes in order to meet a requirement not to learn anything. And to me, it got very silly. But more importantly, now the program itself, you're supposed to have a degree higher than the person that you're teaching in order to run a program. So if you have a master's degree, you got to have a PhD. The person who runs the master's program now does not have a PhD. They're barely qualified. They've never written a thesis. They've never done anything scholarly. They work for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and that's how they got the job. And by the way, they're a former student of mine. They're a former student of mine from when they were undergrad.
What kind of grade did they get?
Oh, they did okay. They got like B's and A's. They did okay. But that's not the point. The point is, you have to, if you're teaching graduate students, you have to have scholar. You got to be a scholar. This person was not a scholar. They were not interested in being a scholar. They were interested in being a criminal investigator. There's nothing wrong with that, but it becomes a little bit self-serving. You can't have. It's like saying I'm a police officer, so I'm going to get training from another police officer so I can be a scientist. No. If you want to be a scientist, you have to be trained by scientists. If you want to get investigative training, you have to be trained by somebody who's an investigator. If you want to learn how to testify in court, you got to go study under somebody who's testifying in court. If you want to learn something, you should learn it from the person who's doing it, not from somebody who's just reading from a book. And that's the real problem with education today, in my view. Would you agree with that?
That's probably been the problem with education since the beginning of time.
No, that's a very fair statement. From my point of view, I was having a conversation with Stan Crowder, and I want to share this with you, with the president of the IAFC. And we were talking about how essentially people nowadays are not judged by outcomes. They're judged by how they appear. They're judged by the credentials they appear to amass. They're judged by the awards they have, by the superficial qualities like how well they're regarded on social media, what awards they've been given by different organizations and agencies, and these things become a shortcut to talking about actual credentials. Because, well, here's how it works. If you and I want to be evaluated, you evaluate our work product. The problem is there's not enough people who know how to do the work to actually evaluate whether or not we're doing a good job. We're missing people who are capable of evaluating work product. We have supervisors who, because they won this award, they held this job for so long, and they have this many likes on Facebook or something, and that becomes the standard. Instead of it being, okay, he's testified in these cases, he's solved this case, he's solved this problem, he's actually written this, he's researching that. Instead of accomplishments and achievements, it's very superficial. Instead of professional accomplishments and outcomes, it's very superficial achievements. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, that's why people like these online courses and credentials and nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's a shortcut to being legitimate.
Right. And it's actually because those kind of achievements are actually difficult. But that's the worst part about it is you don't have people who are capable of evaluating achievement. Right? The supervisors, they wouldn't know the difference between a good work product and a bad work product. That's the problem I see. Does that make sense?
Well, that makes perfect sense because in our experience, of course, most of the supervisors are often far worse than people actually in the work because the supervisors, for political reasons, sometimes are in that position, never did the work.
Right. They've never actually done the work, or if they have done the work, they're putting that position because they're being moved away from casework because of some deficiency. Maybe they got a domestic violence hit against them, or maybe they got maybe they're waiting for an indictment to come down. So there's an internal affairs investigation going on. They can't be on active casework right now, so they're put into a position where they got a supervisor. Instead of it being they're doing it because they've achieved something. It is always a delight for me to meet someone who's in a supervisory situation in law enforcement or government who got there by virtue of accomplishment, because usually that doesn't happen. Usually it's politics. So
It's very difficult.
and in the
supervisors.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem that I have. So I'm very, one of the things I try to impart to my students is the notion that if you want to do well, the way you do well is by doing good work, by having actual accomplishments, by doing things that actually I can evaluate, a real work product, as opposed to work product that's based on things that are phony. So that's becoming rarer and rarer. Anyway, so for us, I feel like that's the goal of our institute, is to make sure that when we're teaching people things, these are things that they can use to actually have better outcomes in their workplace. That's the hope.
Well, and something really well, and that is we're teaching because we know how to do it, and we've done it.
Yep.
And we're trying to impart this knowledge, especially on younger investigators, future attorneys, or scientists, and we're trying to teach them how to do it correctly. And
that's right.
Not to take shortcuts. And so I think that's the value we get in these seminars. And we're teaching people who actually come to work.
Right.
Successfully. Over and over and over. Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's very important. Listen, this is my master's course every time we teach.
Yep. And one of the fun things for me is I like working with you. I like working with Aurelio. I like working with Stan Crowder. And the reason why is because you guys enjoy doing the work. And so you would never even think about taking shortcuts because you enjoy the process of doing the work. What I keep running into are people who don't know how to do the work. So they do all these shortcuts and thinking they've done something because they can, because they've got people standing around them saying, "Oh, you're doing it, you're doing it." No, well, they're not really doing it. They're not actually accomplishing anything. They're not actually doing anything because they don't. Well, not only do they not know how to do the work, they don't enjoy the process. What they enjoy is standing up in front of people and having people look at them or whatever. No, I lost you there, Paul. Your audio's gone. Something happened. Your audio. I don't have your audio, brother. You cut yourself off. It's over for you. Nope, it's gone. No, nothing. What did you do? I see nothing. We've changed nothing. No, it's okay. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. No audio. I can see your mouth moving, and I guess that's enough. Well, I think let me see if I can lip read. Oh, that's not good. All right, my friend, I'm gonna let you go. I'll give you a call a little bit. All right. I appreciate you taking time to see me today. Wave goodbye to all the nice people, and we'll see you all in Las Vegas. Okay. Thanks, brother. Talk to you later.